This week on What the Net, we're going to be talking about the new iPhone leaks that have recently come out before the Apple presentation. We're going to be reviewing the movie of the week, It Chapter 2, and looks like we're getting a new Face-Off movie. Face On, maybe? But I'm not too happy about it, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's break that down. Hello and welcome to What the Net, where we talk about things that I want to talk about and you want to hear about. My name's Jakemellor, and thanks for being here today. And in case you're wondering, yes, I'm back in the splint. I made another video about it. It's going to be coming out tomorrow on my new vlog channel. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. I'll link it below. It's called Watch My Life Vlogs, and make sure you subscribe to it and all that stuff. So that's where all my vlogs are going to be from now on. But you're not here to talk about that. You're here to talk about the wacky things on the net. And before we get into that, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below, turn on notifications, and let's jump into the first topic. Okay, so first topic of the day. We're talking the iPhone 11 has recently been leaked. Now, when this video drops, it's going to be about 8 hours until the actual presentation, so we're not going to have to wait long. However, some of the photos and some of the details that have been released is quite interesting, and it's both exciting and sucky. And here's why. So, I'm an Apple guy. I have the Apple Mac, which I edit on. I wear an Apple Watch, not right now because it's on charge. And I have an iPhone. But I've been trying to get out of the loop because I find that iPhones every couple of years just die on you. Yeah, that might be a phone thing, but I've heard a lot of good things about Samsung and the Google Pixel, and I'm really trying to break out of the chains and the shackles of the Apple iPhone, you know? The new iPhone that it looks like they're releasing looks pretty freaking awesome. And the reason it looks awesome is the cameras. Now, as you guys know, I do a lot of filming. I film vlogs, I film videos, and the videos are fine because I got my lovely Canon DSLR. But when I'm out, out and about, sometimes it's hard to carry the camera around. And so I like to film things on my phone. So the camera is becoming more and more critical for me. And so there's going to be 3 types of new phones that are coming out. There's going to be the iPhone 11, the iPhone 11 Pro, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now, as you can see, the 11 is smaller than the Pro Max, but the Pro is smaller than all of them. Now, the 11 Pro looks good for me because I don't have Dwayne Johnson hands. I need a phone that's regular size. The ones that are too big, that's too big for me. If you want something that big, get an iPad. And so they all have the Face ID, and it all looks pretty much the same to the last phone. But the thing that catches my eye is the camera. So with the iPhone 11, there's a dual 12 megapixel rear camera and a 12 megapixel front camera. The 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max, both 12 megapixel front cameras. But here's the difference. With the Pro and the Pro Max, there is a triple rear camera. Hot damn. And I've watched the comparison videos and stuff, and I do have to say, my personal opinion, I think the iPhones take the best photos. They're also really good for time lapses. I think I'm going to be getting the iPhone 11. Not straight away, I still have the 7, and yes, the front camera doesn't work, and yes, it's cracked, and yes, it's slow, and yes, the battery doesn't charge, and yes, as I'm saying this out loud, there's a lot of problems with my phone. But I think I can hold out a little bit longer, but I think the next phone I'm going to get might be the 11. But I'm excited to see this presentation coming up tomorrow. But what do you guys think? Are you guys slaves to Apples like myself? Or are you a Samsung guy or a Google guy? Or let me know down below. And if you want to try and convince me not to get an iPhone, please also let me know down below. But the camera is a real draw card for me. And now that that's out of the way, let's go on to the movie of the week. Now, this came out last Thursday, so a lot of diehard fans like myself would have seen it last week or over the weekend. So I understand if this is a bit late, but you'll still be able to either agree or disagree with my thoughts. But regardless, let's talk about if you should see it. Okay, so the movie this week we're going to be talking about is It Chapter 2. Now, this is a sequel to the original It that came out in 2017. It's also a book by Stephen King. And on top of that, there's also was a mini-series back in the 90s with Tim Curry as It. Fun fact, I didn't actually know that was a mini-series until this movie came out. I just assumed it was a movie because me being born in 96, it's just something that I picked up at the DVD store as a DVD, which shows my age in itself because they also no longer exist. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. What did I think of it? Well, it was kind of a mixed bag. It was way too long for starters, like way too long. Nearly 3 hours, I think. And it didn't need to be that long. For sure, they could have cut out so much of this movie, and if they made it tight, it could have been as good as the first one. And I really enjoyed it, but not for the reasons that I should have enjoyed it. It was borderline a good bad film. And the main thing that I can put towards that is just so many different tones. It has the stars like James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain, Bill Hader, that would be in a big blockbuster movie. But then it has the weird horror elements, kind of like The Evil Dead 2, and it has a lot of comedy elements in it, and it has a lot of gore, and at some points it kind of turns into a weird Mission Impossible action movie. Now these tones are kind of why I call it a good bad film, because it kind of was super wacky. Have you guys ever seen The Evil Dead 2? If you've seen that, or any of those kind of black comedies, maybe Cabin in the Woods, that would kind of be how I describe it. It had that wacky tone where don't take anything seriously. And I also understand that a lot of people might say, Jacob, you should have read the book, or this happens in the book. That's cool, I haven't read the book. And part of a movie is adapting it for the screen. And so overall, should you see it? To be honest, I'd still say yeah. It's definitely a letdown from the first movie, but they do kind of go hand in hand, and it does complete the story. Bill Hader, by far, was a standout. Everybody else really didn't stand out. Even Pennywise didn't really stand out. There were some scenes that were super messed up and gruesome. There were some scenes that were hilarious. I went and saw it with my mate Caden. We went and saw the double feature. So we went and saw It, and then It Chapter 2 immediately after. So we really did go into It Chapter 2 with It fresh in our minds. And I think Caden would agree that the whole movie, you could just hear people in the background just grilling the movie. It was hilarious. Bottom line, I'd say, if you liked It, go see this movie. If you're after a fun, weird time, go see this movie. If you have a lot of time to spare, go see this movie. And if you don't have 3 hours to waste, give it a pass. That's all I have to say. Back to you, Jacob. Alright, so what did you think about that review? Is that something that if you haven't seen it, you want to see? And if you have seen it, do you agree with what I have to say? Let me know down below in the comments. And now would be a good time just to take a little quick break and talk about that the video obviously is coming out on a Tuesday. And if you're not one of my usual subscribers and usual viewers, and thank you very much if you are, leave a like if you are, but you would have noticed that instead of this coming out on a Monday, it's coming out on a Tuesday. And so now that I've moved the vlogs to a second channel, and I've kind of combined the movie reviews into this web series that I'm working on creating and tweaking, there'll still be more to come. But because of that, I thought for me, and for you guys, the viewers, I thought the best time to upload these would be, instead of doing it once a week, now that the reviews are combined with this, I've kind of got enough room to put in a second series a week. And so I'm going to be doing them Tuesdays and Thursdays. The reason why I'm going to be doing that is because I feel like Monday there's a lot more news coming out of America in the States, and movie news, entertainment news, things like that. But because I live in Australia, my Monday is really America's Sunday. And so Tuesday is when I wake up and find all the news that we want to talk about. And obviously on Thursdays, I can go see the movie in the morning, and then during the show in the afternoon when I post, we'll be able to talk about the latest movie that's coming out, and if I think you should see it, so then you guys are all prepped for the weekend of if you want to go see the movie. And the vlogs for now are going to be staying on the same day, Wednesday nights. Check them out on my other channel, watch my live vlogs. And obviously make sure to subscribe to them both and stay tuned, all that stuff. And now for the second and last topic of the day. I love the 90s. I love the classic 90s movies. We're talking Con Air, Bad Boys, The Rock, and what's that one that I'm missing? It's right on the tip of my face. It's Face Off. I love Face Off. It's a good bad movie. It was directed by John Woo, which means there's going to be a hell of a lot of dubs in this movie. It also starred John Travolta and Nicolas Cage in the craziest Nicolas Cage and John Travolta time in their life. You gotta remember, when this movie came out, Nicolas Cage did 3 great movies back to back. He did Con Air, The Rock, and Face Off within a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And so they've announced that they're making a second movie, and it's in talks in Paramount. Now, I'm not excited for it, and let me tell you why. For starters, no John Travolta, no Nicolas Cage. Their crazy antics kind of made the movie. Secondly, it's not taking place in the 90s. That was kind of a little box where you could just get away with anything, and it was just ridiculous. And so this comes from The Hollywood Reporter, and we've learned that the film's going to be written by Oren Uzel, and he's really the reason why I'm not super stoked for this movie. If you're unfamiliar with his work, he wrote films like 22 Jump Street, which was okay, but I really feel like it's taken over from the first movie. Most of the writing is just adding to what the first movie created. He also did The Cloverfield Paradox, which sucked. He wrote Sonic the Hedgehog, which I haven't seen yet, but the trailers aren't really impressing me and don't scream Face Off. And so the only thing that I can really take that's positive from it is because he has written 22 Jump Street, maybe they're trying to reinvigorate the franchise like they did with the Jump Street series. And so from that, they're going to kind of make it more of a comedy and make it more outlandish, I guess. which doesn't make sense because the first one was outlandish, but they took it deadly serious. So I guess we'll see. What do you guys think about seeing Face Off coming back to the big screen, but without Travolta and without Nicolas Cage? Are you guys excited for it? Are you optimistic? Or are you thinking it's going to be horrible? Let me know down below in the comments. And so that's the show for today. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought on today's topics. Let me know if you're interested in seeing the movie It, and let me know what you think of the new structure of the show. I'm going to keep working on it, keep tweaking it, but I think we're moving in a direction where I think it's looking good. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, leave a like, all that stuff. Thank you so much guys for watching, and as always, whatever your passion, work hard and be lucky.